On Friday, you will recall Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich was impeached by the Illinois House of Representatives for, among other things, allegedly trying to auction off President-elect Barack Obama's now vacant U.S. Senate seat for things that would be of value to the governor himself, preferably things with giant dollar signs on them. Illinois State Representative John Fritchie told us Friday, after casting his yes vote for impeachment, that it'll be a matter of just a few weeks before Mr. Blagojevich is removed from office by the Illinois Senate. That was on Friday. Today is Monday. And today, Governor Blagojevich sort of won. Roland Burris, the man Blagojevich selected to fill that vacant Senate seat, was told that he will get that seat. Impeachment, schmimpeachment. This afternoon, Mr. Burris was seated in the U.S. Senate by the chamber's Democratic caucus. Now, at first, Mr. Burris faced political resistance from the Illinois Secretary of State and from Senate Democrats. They pledged they would not seat anyone appointed by Governor F-word, no matter who it was. Then Mr. Burris was not allowed to take his seat when he showed up in Washington, D.C. last week because he allegedly didn't have the proper paperwork. Now, an appropriate piece of paper has been found with the Illinois Secretary of State's signature on it. This is all stuff for the encyclopedia entry on Roland Burris, at which future generations will scratch their heads and say, wait, what? How did this go? But anyway, Mr. Burris's paperwork today was approved, and Mr. Burris should take the oath of office of his new office later this week. All along, amid the righteous din and indignation and disbelief from Washington to Chicago to Springfield to everywhere else, Roland Burris alone consistently said that he knew what to call Roland Burris.
I'm a United States Senator. They cannot stop me from doing my senatorial duty, but I am the junior senator according to every law book in the nation. I am the junior senator from the state of Illinois. Members of the media, my name is Roland Burris, the junior senator from the state of Illinois.
That repeated insistence is not looking so audacious tonight. We now welcome to our show, for the first time officially, the junior senator from Illinois, Roland Burris. Mr. Senator Designate, congratulations, and thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Well, thank you, Rachel. And you did put the designate on there, which is the official title for me right now.
Senator Designate is the right thing to say?
That is correct, until I take the oath of office.
Do you know when you will take the oath of office?
Well, it's between getting my family together and Vice President Cheney. We're trying to match our schedules. It will be either on Wednesday or Thursday. And it will have to be, if we can't get Vice President Cheney, then we will use one of our other distinguished senators to swear us in.
Not very many people in America have the occasion to say, getting my family together with Vice President Cheney. You are in a very small amount of company. Mr. Burris, you are now the sole African American in the United States Senate. You have arrived there by a very circuitous path. After you are sworn in and you officially become senator, what's your first priority?
Well, my first priority is to learn the rules and regulations of the august body. And of course, in terms of legislation and problems with the country, is to certainly look at what President Obama would have sent to us and then begin to work on that stimulus package so that we can get people in this state and in the nation back to work so people can earn money, and their earnings will then allow them, of course, to spend and then improve our economy. We must also do infrastructure legislation and, infrastructure funding so that we can do our roads and our bridges and our water for purification and greening of our cities. So I'm ready to hit the ground running on those issues that are impacting our state and our nation.
One of the issues that has divided Senate Democrats, although that may be too strong a word at this point, there's at least discussion among Senate Democrats, is on the issue of that stimulus package. How much of it should be government spending in the pure sense, and how much of it should be tax cuts? Do you yet have an opinion on whether or not tax cuts should be a major part of this initial approach to the economic crisis?
Yeah, I noticed that President-elect Obama has made some amends to what he was offered on the campaign trail. And of course, that is to try to bring more people in. And I'm pretty sure the Senate and the House will put their impressions on that legislation. So it will come out, maybe not as President Obama has sent it, but it will come out to the best interest of the people of America.
The questions and controversies and the long process surrounding your appointment have taken up a lot of the Senate's time and attention over the past week as they really settle in now at the start of the 111th Congress. Do you have any regrets about having accepted this appointment and fighting for the seat in this way, even if it did make you into sort of a distraction for the Senate at a critical time?
Well, I definitely, Rachel, have no regrets, because my whole goal in accepting that appointment from the governor was to be a person and a public servant on behalf of Illinois. I didn't want Illinois to go into this 111th Congress shorthanded. And so with the strength of my community and my friends and supporters all encouraging me to move forward, I found no regrets whatsoever, because my whole life I've set out to be a public servant, and that's what I love to continue to do. And now I have the opportunity to even help us in this distinguished body of the United States Senate.
Now that the question of your appointment seems all but settled, there is still the question of your ongoing relationship with Governor Blagojevich. I know that before you were appointed to the Senate, you called the evidence against the governor pretty appalling. President-elect Obama has called on the governor to resign. Do you agree with Mr. Obama on that?
Well, what I said at the time when our Attorney General had brought an action to have the governor to step aside, that if what was true and it was proven in the court, naturally the governor should suffer the consequences of his actions should they be proven. But we also understand that you're innocent until you're proven guilty, and so we end up with a situation where the governor is going to have to face the consequences that we say that he made for himself. But that does not in any way cause me to condone his actions or say that his actions were, they were reprehensible. If what they say is true, I mean, if proven to be true, then there's no way that I could, would condone that type of behavior of the chief executive seeking to sell a Senate seat. I mean, that is, just unconscionable.
The Illinois House of Representatives has voted to impeach him. The vote was 114-1. We know that the Illinois State Senate will take up a vote to convict and possibly remove him from office, and that will happen shortly. If you were in the Illinois State Senate right now, do you know how you would vote?
That is too hypothetical. I am not a senator, Rachel, and I don't even want to go down that path, because I will not be privy to the evidence and be submitted. And this is in cross-examinations, so there's still a burden of proof on the prosecutors in this case to at least convince 40 of our state senators that what the governor has done is a convictable offense after the impeachment. You recall President Clinton's situation when he was impeached by the House, but they could not get a conviction in the Senate, and he continued to serve out very successfully the rest of his term.
One last quick question. Do you agree with the decision of the House to impeach him?
Yes, the House had to take on its constitutional responsibility, and certainly they are carrying out their duties, and they've come to that conclusion. I was not there to listen to all their evidence either, but I certainly would say that they have made their proper decision the same way they have to pass on legislation. So yes, I think that they took what position they had to take based on what information they had to follow the law with the impeachment process.
Roland Burris, the senator designate from Illinois for the next couple of days until he is sworn in, whereupon he will be the junior senator from Illinois. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Congratulations on surviving this odyssey, sir.
It's my pleasure, Rachel.
President Bush gave his last ever presidential press conference today, and it was a coffee shooting out your nose, oh no he didn't, say what cavalcade of incredible. Among his claims today, the federal response to Hurricane Katrina was, quote, pretty quick, and the world doesn't have a bad view of America because of Guantanamo. Also, Dick Cheney is really